What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Redriveraviation. Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. And today I have a very exciting, very special, and certainly a very sentimental video for all of you today. I really hope each and every one of you are excited for today's video. And without any further delay, let's go ahead and get started. First and foremost, happy holidays to all. I'm recording this on Christmas Day in the afternoon, as today is a huge day for my aviation photography career and also just my photography in general, as today we have a huge move. So typically I don't make videos about my actual photography setup, which is probably an area I need to move more into, as I think there's certainly a bunch, especially in the aviation side of that could be practical for all of you. I've done some editing videos in the past, maybe one or two camera videos or even tech videos like my iPhone unboxing from last year. But nevertheless, today was way too special of a day not to do one. So as you all know, I've been using the Canon T6i for quite some time now, nearly 6 years. I got it in February of 2018. So pretty much 6 years, a little less than 6, but a very long time. So obviously the T6i is that camera body back there, and then the lens that I currently have on there is the Sigma 18-300. I got that 3 years ago today in December of 2020. So obviously I've been using the T6i predominantly with the Sigma 150-600 lens, the big one here on the left. So obviously the intent of that lens has been to take really good pictures far away. And it's done an awesome job from your typical Tulsa plane spotting to even contrail spotting. It is absolutely killed it, and that lens has came in clutch so many times. There are so many spots around the United States and truly everywhere that I've went spotting that have required all the additional length. It's came in clutch so many times, especially at Tulsa, of course, since that's where I spot the most at, but even at places like Dallas and Atlanta and Los Angeles, and H Hotel is a great example. So there's been so many times where it's came in clutch, and the detail that lens brings out, even with that baseline DSLR that you see right there, has truly been sensational. It has been an incredible rig. For all of you that follow me on Instagram, you've got to see that. And then obviously over the last year, I've been sharing my plane spotting videos through the actual screen recording of the pictures I take on that camera on YouTube. So you all have been able to see what it's done in the raw aspect, and then obviously the edited aspect on Instagram. So that's been awesome. Then right here, I just have a couple of the batteries, so you can see this is the original Canon one that I got with it. These are some Artman batteries that I got to supplement it, so I have extras in case that this ran out, which it has. Pretty much on every spotting occasion I've went for a full day of spotting, I've ran out of battery on this one, so I've always been down to at least one of these a day. And then I also had another set that ended up kind of dying out throughout time, because obviously when you have a camera for a very long time, the accessories for it will sometimes go dead. So today's a big day, guys, because this setup has truly done wonders for me, and it's been incredible to see what the Canon T6i has done. I was originally on that absolutely awful 75-300 kit lens. It was an absolute dumpster fire. If any of you are aware of photography, you know how bad that Canon 75-300 lens is as the light comes out. So luckily I was able to get the 18-300 and also got rid of the 18-55, which I used for all those shots. So that lens in the camera right there will be getting replaced today. I was not initially anticipating on replacing the lens, but you'll see why here in just a moment, why I will be replacing that lens. So both those are for sale. That's the Canon T6i and the Sigma 18-300. So if you are interested, you're welcome to comment below and we can arrange that, or just message me on Instagram or email me or get in touch and we can certainly arrange that. This lens though, absolutely not for sale. It is an incredible unit, and that will be going towards the next era of my aviation photography and beyond. This setup's incredible. I just have to take one final picture and truly commemorate how awesome it's been. So let's go ahead and do that. So unless plans change, this will be the final picture that I take on even the battery's dead. That's when you know you're running on its last leg. This will be the last shot here for the Canon T6i, and we'll do it with the Sigma 18-300 since this lens will be getting terminated. Not because it's bad, but you'll hear in just a moment why we'll be terminating it. So might as well have autofocus on. And I'm just in priority just for fun. And let's just go ahead and take it. And that's it. I'll go ahead and take out the battery. no SD card, so that's it for that. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody involved, I hope that you are very excited. And one more huge send off and shout out to the Canon T6i. Truly incredible camera. It did so well. I even contemplated whether I wanted to upgrade or not. But there was a great sale on Black Friday. The time is right. It's been almost 6 years. If you take care of cameras, they last forever, literally. And that one just did a heck of a job for me. I'm so glad that I got to use it for so long. But today's the day, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is time for the next era of my aviation photography, as today marks the official debut of a brand new camera. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduced to you, I know it's not out yet because I want to do a full unboxing for it, the Canon R7. Wow, I am so excited for this. The Canon R7, as you all know, is a full frame DSLR camera that truly is awesome for the price point. I ended up getting this refurbished. Yes, I know how we feel about refurbished, but seriously, Canon does an awesome job on their refurbished products, excuse me. I've talked to various plane spotters that have got refurbished cameras and they've always had no issues from Canon particularly. So between that, getting a refurbished Canon R7, ignore this part, but a refurbished Canon R7 and a Canon 18-150 for the RF mount, it came out to a total of $1,200. I thought that was truly incredible because getting the body by itself is normally $1,200, so to only sacrifice it being refurbished, plus essentially a free lens, I mean, how can you pass that up? So, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be reviewing and unboxing the Canon R7 with the 18-150 lens. I am so excited for this. It is going to be a huge step up and game changer for my aviation photography. As you all know, it has been so awesome with the T6i. It did a heck of a job for a baseline camera. Obviously not a T6, but you know, essentially down there in that range for a crop sensor. I was really on the fence about what camera to get. I thought about the 90D a little bit there when I initially started thinking about this. Then I looked into even a 5D Mark IV if I really wanted to go all out. And then I ended up settling in between those two to go for a very manageable price for a full frame and really set it off. And I thought that this would be a perfect long-term solution because I'm not looking to be crazy fancy, but I'm also not looking to break my budget. And I thought that this was way too good of an opportunity. So in this box, we have the camera, lens, and the battery that it comes with. I also have a new round of SD cards. So I have 4 of the Luxor Professional 128 gigabyte SD cards, which have 250 megabytes per second, which will be huge for the shutter speed. So I have 4 of these. The camera does take 2 itself, so I thought I would start out with 4, and I'll probably start putting my pictures on my hard drive because I currently have 30 SD cards and I don't need to buy any more. I just need to start storing them on my hard drive. So that's the plan. So I might have SD cards for sale coming up soon, but here's what it looks like. I just thought I would unbox a couple of them and put them in there so you didn't have to see me do the dirty work. But here's what that looks like. These are some additional batteries because I've run through a battery like nobody's business, and the really good batteries for this camera, I believe it's the, which I think it says, it's like the 117 or equivalent, somewhere in here it says it, maybe on the back. The LPE6NH. These batteries, the Canon ones themselves, I believe are at least $50 for one. It might have been $75. It was very expensive. So I thought I'd buy some off-brand ones because they always do the job. I'll just send them back if they don't. But just like Artman, very similar style here. So that's exactly what we have. And with this being a full frame camera, you may have heard me refer to the RF mount once or twice. I need a mount adapter because I want to use that 150-600 with this camera, but that's not going to go on the actual camera because it's a full frame. So Canon does make a mount adapter wisely enough. So I will be able to use this. This was $100 by itself, which is expensive, don't get me wrong, but this is very important so I can use that lens instead of going on a dog hunt and spending $1,500, let's say, on a 100-400, plus the additional lens on the 150-600 is truly powerful. At some point, I'd like to sell it and get a 100-400 and I'll be ready to go. But, you know, obviously the 150-600 is fine. It's always been great. It's great glass. I need to go get it cleaned. So I'm going to go try to do that here in the next couple of days before I go spotting with it. But the intent with this is obviously use that lens, which I think it's going to work perfectly with the camera. The glass has been great on that 150-600. It's mainly that we need a camera to match its capabilities, and that's exactly what the R7 is going to be. So very excited to have this, and we'll take that out here in a moment. So this box has the goodies. I'm very excited to take a look at this. This is a huge moment for my plane spotting journey. Obviously, as you all know, I started on a Filmg D3280, which was a really old point and shoot camera. And then from there, I got the T5, and then I've only had the T6 ever since. So I probably will not upgrade for a very long time once again, but this camera's gonna last a very long time. I'm gonna take very good care of it, and I'm looking very forward to it. So sorry that that took me 10 minutes to get to this part of the video, but nevertheless, that climax was kind of important as to why I will be replacing what I am with the T6i and obviously the 18-300, which is still a very good camera, but obviously, or sorry, very good lens, but getting this lens for free and not having any distortion due to the mount, which it distorts just a little bit, not bad. But again, we'll have to put it to the test. And also, huge shout out to PHX Plane Pics on Instagram. Please check out his account. He takes some awesome shots at Phoenix. He gave me some really wise advice when it came to this, and also just to try it out and see what happens. Like I said, at some point I'd love to get 100 to 400, but I think that this will certainly be more than sufficient to match the glass that I have. So let's go ahead, take this on out of the box. I have already took this out once, so if it's a little mispackaged, I apologize, and I did take the invoice out as well, but it should be pretty close. So let's go ahead and get into it. Starting right here, we have the battery. So this is the actual Canon one. So I really like the official Canon ones. However, they are very expensive. So that's why I only have one per my DSLRs. So that's exactly what you have here with this Canon example. So here is what it is. You have to flip it over, but it's the LPE6NH batteries. These do a really great job. So very excited to take a look at that once we get in there. You also have the official charger for it. I don't think they're universal. I have seen some reviews though that the other batteries work with this adapter, but the Canon doesn't work with the, the off-brand adapter. So that's why we have this one to charge the Canon battery itself. And here is the lens. So again, this is the Canon 18-150. This is a very good lens. It's essentially not a kit lens. It's just what it comes with. So this is great because when I saw this offer, I initially was like, well, is 150 enough? Because obviously I hate switching between lenses and I try to avoid it if I can. But with how good the sensor is on the Canon R7, I thought that this would be sufficient. And practically and all the time, I think my new rule will be is if I'm past 150, I need to be using the 150-600. But it's nice to have the 18-300 for the easy capabilities to just getting out there to 300 just like that. But 150 should be more than enough for most of my spotting locations. So this should work. And again, hopefully this will avoid the distortion that possibly the 18-300 could create a little bit of, but usually the mounts aren't too bad about it. So very excited for that. Also in here, before we get the actual camera out, we have some additional items, including the Canon R7 strap, which I'm very excited to have this, so that looks nice. The other one only has EOS, and to show you how old this camera truly is, it's pretty wore out, as you can tell. It's honestly not too bad. This part stayed in really good shape, but yeah, the lanyard's really cool. So very excited to have the strap here to put, and it has R7 on it, so that's really cool. So very excited to get to utilize that. And we also have a, let's see, this I think has to do with the battery itself. And this is just another letter from them. And then this, I'm assuming, is a warranty of sorts, because I did buy a 4-year warranty on it, which was additional $200. But again, anytime you get a refurbished product, definitely consider getting warranty on it so you don't have any issues if it does come broken again or does break again like it did previously. That did happen to PHX Plane Picks, and I felt really bad for him because it's expensive to get them fixed, but his sensor essentially busted, which just sucked. Anyway, with all that being said, let's go ahead and get into the dirty work. As ladies and gentlemen, it is time. The era is here for the Canon R7. What a unit this camera is. As I take it out, also don't worry, I just put the dill out there, the glass, because I was using it. I tested it, just one picture to assure that it worked, because it was a 14-day return period and I didn't get it till Christmas because my mom was very nice to split this with me. So I bought half and she bought half. So that was a very nice Christmas gift on her behalf. So ladies and gentlemen, the Canon R7 full frame mirrorless camera. What an incredible rig this is. This is truly going to be an incredible piece of technology for my plane spotting journey. So we'll go ahead and look around it, and I'll even do a couple of test pictures for you all so you can see what this is looking like. I'll also wait to upload this video till I go spotting, and then I'll edit some pictures for this video so you can see what's going on. So let's first and foremost just take a look around the body a little bit, and then we will dive into the details regarding the setups that I can do and all that. So let's just go ahead and take a little bit of a detailed look at it. I won't go too crazy, but just get some basic details for all of you so you can see what we're doing here. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me turn this down just a little bit. So obviously here's the shutter. Then of course you have where you have a remote to do long exposure. So that'll certainly be applicable. Then you got the autofocus, which is different. This is typically on the lenses. However, you can do it right here on the full frame cameras because that's how the lenses are. If you take a look, you don't have an autofocus because these full frame cameras, the autofocus is on the body itself, which is very cool. So essentially the difference, and I'll show you here in a minute as well, these cameras don't have a mirror. As you can see, it's mirrorless. And that essentially means that the camera fully runs off batteries and doesn't flick when it takes pictures. It just comes out. Let me get my T6i here real quick to show you the comparison. You can see that my T6i here has a mirror right there, and the mirror flicks up every time it takes a picture to reflect the light. So just a completely different concept when it comes to cameras. This is how it started, and now we're at the point where the majority of professional work is done on these mirrorless cameras. Nothing wrong with the mirror concept, it's just that the quality ends up being better when you don't have a mirror. So of course you have the sensor there still, but no mirror. So that's exactly what you have there with that. And then of course you have the applicable mounts and all that. So we'll kind of work on, show you how all that works. But that's why the autofocus is there, because it's mirrorless. So that's the point. The camera focuses rather than the lens itself in this particular case. You have the EOS R7 logo up there on the top right, and then this piece is how you get the lenses to attach and detach. On the left side here, you got the microphone on top. This is another aux piece, I believe. So you can put your auxes on that, or it's a mini one, however that's described. Here's a headphone jack. I'm not sure what particularly you do a headphone on for that, but maybe to listen to the audio to make sure that sounds good. That would be my assumption. You do have a mini HDMI and a USB-C, so certainly very cool to get to see those parts. You have where the strap goes right here. I'll get to the back once we evaluate the full camera. You got the UKCA down here, tripod stand, various screws. Here's where the battery goes, and I'll just go ahead and insert that so we can actually work with it. Yes, I did charge the battery. So it just clicks in, very nice and simple as you would expect. Again, shutter button right there. Here's where the SD cards go. You just flick it out. And again, it does have the 2 SD card slots, which is very helpful. So as a result of the 2 slots, if I can find my 2 SD cards, I'm just blowing them to make sure they don't have any dust. They also have a different design back there, which is pretty cool, but all you gotta do is insert. Now it does take normal SD cards. However, I would recommend high quality SD cards if you're going to use this camera as a result, so you can get the most out of it with the shutter speed and the other features that it provides, and also so it doesn't lag out. So that's what I would recommend with that. So as install flash right there so it works. Here's the top. So this piece is where obviously you put a flash sensor or equivalent. In my case, I'll be putting the phone mount that my phone's actually on right here to record videos on that. So that's what you have right there. I just have a piece for it, which is really cool. Then of course you have the ring for your various settings. So you got manual, which is what I'm going to be using for the most part, but you also have priority, and then you got aperture. So you got some various modes there, so I'll be excited to use them all. So you got the Canon logo here, sorry I kind of missed that, and the sensor right there. Here's the lock button. I'm not exactly sure what it locks, so I'll have to figure that out, but that's all right. Then you have off, on, and video. So I'll show you all how that works here in a moment. You also have the right strap. Then you got the ISO, the record button, which is cool to see. I have the record button here rather than back here on the other DSLRs. Here's the ring to change the shutter speed, M to FN, and the shutter once again. On the back here, as you can see, you got the viewfinder, you got the menu button here, info. Here's your toggles for the menu pages and seeing pictures. You got the Q for set on manual. Then you got the button to see pictures and video, along with the trash as well. This, I believe, is to work with the menu. I think that's a scroll ring, and then this is a select button. I'm pretty sure that's what that is. You also have the viewfinder here, which is really cool, and then you have the autofocus on, so you can literally flip it from here. So I don't think it like toggles it. Yeah, so I'm assuming it does it like through the sensor, so that's pretty cool. So that's the actual outside. Just thought I would go over it real quick so that we were on the same page regarding how that works. This has been a fun video. I've enjoyed this for different. Okay, didn't mean to go 0.5, but anyways, now I'm going to show you all how this kind of works. So again, to clarify, and we'll kind of look at this real quick, this is the Canon RF 18-150. So with this lens, some of the major differences, this is a RF mount. So what that means is this is supposed to go to RF mirrorless cameras, just like the R7. This would not go on my Canon T6i because it's a mirrorless lens. So you can see here how it's designed for mirrorless cameras opposed to the crop sensor lenses like the Sigma 150-600. So you can see when I open that up, it has the big design. That's kind of half that's due to the lens size, half of that's due to the crop sensor. So, and another way to look at it is I'll bring over the Sigma 18-300. You can see how much different that is with the circle design opposed to this kind of rectangle design here that you have on the 18-150. So obviously crop sensors versus full frames are a little bit different in that regard. So that's kind of how that works right there. So with that being said, I'll just kind of attach it so you can get a view of how this looks. So you obviously get the red line there, you get the red line on the camera, loosely get it in there and just twist to the left and it clicks. So that's really simple. And again, this button right here, you hold down and it takes it off just like that. Sorry for anybody that's watched camera videos before. This is more so just, you know, just get a brief idea of why I'm choosing to upgrade to this product. So hopefully it makes sense why I'm explaining it the way I am. So that's where we have that. However, now since I want to use this 150-600 on it and not buy a whole new lens again, I had to get a piece because you can see, like I was showing earlier, and I'll show it again, I'm not going to actually touch them, but you can see where that wouldn't line up properly and thus wouldn't click in. So as a result of that, what I did is Canon offers a EF to RF mount. So what you do with this product right here is this goes on the body and then it can go to the lens. So we're going to go ahead and unbox this. Now these are very simple to get. You just go online and buy them like you would a lens or any other camera product. Again, I think it was around $100, so maybe a little bit more. But nevertheless, you can see how that comes out. So again, you have bubble wrap for it. And then I bought mine brand new, by the way. You can get them used or ask a friend around. You probably could find one if you want. But nevertheless, I'll just put this back in there for the sake of what we're doing here and pack that up later. So here is the case that it comes in, which is nice to have this nice case. And then you just take it out. I think it did have wrap on it prior to this, so apologies that I don't have that here. But nevertheless, here is the front piece. So you just take that off. And this is what's supposed to go on the edge right here. So this is the outside of it, if you will. So obviously it looks like a crop sensor again. And then of course you get the thick piece here. This piece lets the lens come on. Pretty simple throughout. You can get the rest. And then the back piece, then your RF mount comes back. So how this works is, as you can see, it's just like the 18 to 150. You can put it on here and then twist to the left. It clicks, very firm, by the way, that's how it's supposed to be. So now you can see kind of the extension job, and then you can twist out and you're like, oh, it's crop sensor again. So you can see red to red, put it in, twist left, and boom, just like that, $100 later, which yes, it is expensive, but it's worth it in this particular case. You go from having a unusable lens to a very usable lens. So that's very exciting right there as well. Okay. I think we are ready to give it a test run here. I'm just going to turn it on and kind of show you around how it works on the menu. And then I'll insert a segment of looking at some pictures once I get some actual pictures for it. So here it is. I did already charge the battery. So here's what we got. So I got it in manual right now. So you can see I got the 500 f8. That's what I've used on T6i for many years. ISO auto, and then you got all the other various settings. You got in servo right there. You got in high quality continuous shooting, which is a cool feature of mirrorless cameras. I also have the 2 SD card settings, so you can see where I push Q, so we can look around on that. I also got them both in RAW, so all the settings that you would want. So this looks great right here. So that's absolutely awesomeness. Okay, so anyway, I'm trying to get it out of it, so I'll just turn it off and on again. So as you can see, very efficient. I don't think it's going to be able to see very well into the viewfinder, or I would show you. Actually, hell, you can kind of see that. Okay, so there's what it looks like. I'm sorry that I have a table right there. Maybe I can zoom it up here a little bit and we can kind of look at it together. Oh, let's see. Heck yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm just gonna have to get it literally perfectly level. So you can see how that works. Sorry, it's so heavy. But you can see how that works and how you can get a view as of to what you're looking at. That's really cool. So that's what the inside of it looks like. So overall, it's absolutely awesome. I will insert a segment here regarding the pictures that I take with it and how it works and all that, because obviously I'm not at the airport right now and I'd like to get you all some aviation photography pictures rather than, you know, obviously just having kind of dork off pictures, so you can get the full assessment of this. So I'll be back here and we'll talk about how it looks at that point. But nevertheless, I hope that you all enjoyed the unboxing segment. We'll get a couple pictures on here before we round up the video. So thank you all so much, and let's go ahead and take a look at those, everybody. Alrighty guys, so after a couple months of really awesome plane spotting with the brand new Canon R7 and Sigma 150-600, of course, we have some really awesome results to take a look at, along with the RF 18 to 150 lens. Honestly, I've had an absolute blast with the camera. It's been super awesome, so really excited to take a look here. We have like 25 photos or so with a variety of lighting and different circumstances to assess here, so excited to take a look at these, and we'll kind of dive into all of these here as well. And of course, we'll have spotting videos coming up with all of these plane spotting sessions too, so stay on the lookout for that as well. Alrighty, let's go ahead and get started. So as you can see right here, we started at Tulsa in December. Here's the United 175. This is a really good picture to kind of get a grasp. Of course, these are edited pictures, so you see the full after effect. You know what the editing process looks like. I've made a couple of videos on that, so you can kind of grasp what the raw photo would look like. But here's what the new one looks like right here. As you can see, the edited version. So zooming in, you can really see how clear it is. Almost so much so to where the haze almost becomes a problem with it, which which is kind of funny. So what I mean by that is you can see some hesitation, some various areas. Now this did go through Topaz, the denoiser as well, so you see all that as well. There's a nice female pilot right there. Anyways, back to work though. You can see the hesitation here with the sticker, then also the registration, which is the only major con, and it's really not that bad, of course. It just looks fantastic with the sharpness, so you can see the various angles of that kind of looking through. The United Express titles look super good. You can see like the outline not suppressed, but you can see kind of the pixels around it, if that makes sense, which is kind of cool for difference. So you can see how sharp this really gets, and of course this is really sharpened up for Instagram, so you can really see how good it is. So you can see all the various components of that, and even the color kind of desaturation, if you will, even kind of becomes a factor. But again, when you zoom out, if I wouldn't have told you, there's a chance you wouldn't have noticed. So that's why this is so important right here. And overall, I'm certainly very happy with the results. So hopefully that is a nice little bounce over. So hopefully you're able to see a good portion of that. So there's the 9175. And then next I have a Delta CRJ 900. You can see similar results as well. And I'll zoom in again so you can get a nice view here at the front. So you can really see how clear this gets. And please turn your video up to 1080p if you're not watching in that already, or 720, whatever I'm able to put it on. So you can really get a grasp as to the sharpness of this. And overall, you can just see how awesome it looks. Also keep in mind we are on OBS, so it's a little bit suppressed on the video, but you've seen the pictures on Instagram. And if you're curious what the actual photos look like, drop your email in the comments and I'll email you some pictures so you can get a good look as of to what this looks like. But you can see some really awesome detail throughout. I'm very impressed with how the letters look with the camera. It's done a really good job on that part. And certainly the other component that I was beyond blown away with was the color. Of course, this has some editing on it, thus it's going to be a little bit more saturated in what the raw picture is, but the color is just crazy. So that's really cool. And I did end up having to buy Photoshop Elements 2024 to make the camera raw files work. So that editor also has 16-bit color on it, so you're seeing some of those results as well. But man, the color on this camera is truly incredible, and probably the biggest surprise for me. I knew that the color was going to be better, but I didn't think it was going to be a night and day difference like you're seeing here. Here's this picture from San Diego, the Southwest 737 Max 8. This does a really good job. Again, on the 150-600. Another little note of it, I think it's because of the EF to R out mount, but again, it's not a huge deal. Some parts of the photos will get a little bit suppressed, so the nose right here, you can kind of see where that gets a little bit pixelated, but again, when you're looking at it from the wide view, it's not a huge problem whatsoever. So it's just a little note. The middle of the aircraft, of course, looks fantastic. I've also messed with my settings some since this, and also the registration. You can see where that kind of hesitates a little bit. But again, I started with 1:500 f8 ISO auto, and then my new settings that have worked really well in sunny conditions is 1:1000 f9 ISO 200. Thank you so much PHX Plane Pics in Phoenix for helping me with the histogram on the R7. He showed me that on the R7 ISO 200 is where you can fully capitalize on noise. What I mean by that is the most you get the least amount of noise at that ISO on the R7. So that's what I've been trying to shoot in, and as a result, I've countered my shutter speed and f-stop higher to keep the ISO there so that we can get the full potential out of it. And then editing, I can really touch it up, but the sharpness just comes out so great at those settings. And we'll see some of those products here in just a moment. And here's a fantastic shot of this Lufthansa A380. I mean, you can just see how this camera goes to work. It's absolutely terrific. It also does a really good job with backdrops. This is a really good example of that. So you can see how clear the backdrop comes out, which is so cool, and how it's obviously not in focus, of course, but how what's the word I want to use? Subtle the backgrounds look. So it's really helpful in that way. Let's see if I have some more. Okay, so what we're going on to here is this is the 18-150. I'm going to show you a couple examples of this is at Miami. So the 18-150 overall is a pretty good lens. It is a kit lens as I expected. So it's not perfect, but it's certainly workable, especially for the price I got it for. So first and foremost, this is a shot of a corner shot at Miami. Its focus is a little hit or miss. Some of that is user error because you really got to hold it steady, and it does a good job because it does not have image stabilization. So as the byproduct, you have to be ready to go on that, but usually it does a really good job, particularly on side shots. This is a corner shot, as you can see right here, and it still did a good job. So you can kind of zoom in and take a look. It's just some of the corners of it get a little suppressed in areas, so you can kind of see that, and the denoiser does save it pretty good. Like the registration still looks really good. It just depends. It's kind of an odd photo, so let me show you one that's a little bit more defining. So here's this one. You can kind of see it's a little hit or miss, and I got several examples. So you can see right here in the front, it did a fantastic job. All of it's in sharpness really good. And then you come to the back right here, and the registration is just a little soft. It's just in some areas, like the key or the K right here, pardon, it's a little bit soft, and even the DHL logo. But overall, it's really good, especially like I said, if you're looking at it from this view, so you don't even notice it really. So overall, it does a sufficient job. And again, most of the time I'm using the 150-600. The only time I'm really using the 18-150 is really close-up shots, or like you see right here, if I'm at really close-up shots inside the airport, or if I'm so close to the plane where I have to have it, essentially. Also, I got to see a pilot wife's Claudia's 24 to 240 at Dallas the other day, excuse me. So that lens looks really good. So at some point I would love to upgrade to that if applicable, but again, the highest priority right now is to just continue the rock with what we have. But that 24 to 240 looks really good. It's got OS and all that. So, but overall, the 18-150 is treating me really well. I'm really happy with it. Here's another 18-150 shot, so you can kind of see the registration, a little hesitation, but overall, again, if I wouldn't have told you, it also is a little bit odd with the color saturation as well. When the fuselages kind of go a little, they're still, it's just kind of goofy with the light. And then you'll see in this one, oh, I don't know where my other Frontier went. We'll find that if I have another one of it, but you can kind of see the hesitation on it. And again, it's not a huge deal because I'm not using it all the time. I've used it probably maybe 20% of the time when I'm using the R7. So overall, it's not a huge deal whatsoever. It's more of a mental note that it does get the job done, but again, it's a little bit of a downgrade from what the 18-300 would have been, but it is similar results. So again, you just really got to handle that camera steady, and I think one of the biggest takeaways from it as well is to just take a bunch of pictures and one of them will come out good. So, but these still came out really nice. And then this was at Honolulu. Now, this is still a really good photo. There was quite a bit of haze due to the latitude of the sun, but you can still see how good the photos came out. So this really put the R7 to the test, and it delivered. So I was certainly very happy about that. Here's 717. Again, bunch of haze, so can't really do much about the hesitation throughout here. But overall, it did a very good job. Here's exactly what I'm talking about. To get this kind of shot of Honolulu is ridiculous. Let's go ahead and zoom into the A380 titles here in the nose so you can see what I'm talking about. I mean, that is absolutely I zoomed in too far for it. That's absolutely fantastic considering how hazy Honolulu is year round. So personally, I was very happy with it, and you can just see how good the engines are, and of course, all edited and all that. But I mean, the fact that it came out that good was an absolute thrill, and I was certainly very happy about it. Prime example, don't really need to do much more talking here at LAX. This Cathay One World 333 S-tier aircraft. It looks so good. I even included a second shot just to really get a grasp of it, and you can see how good of a job it does. So certainly very happy about that. Rest in peace, Lynx. I just had to feature them since I had this picture edited of the 737 MAX. You can just see the sharpness, and it does good in various lighting situations too. It's almost overpowering the computer, which is kind of funny, but again, it's the R7. What do you expect? Here's a pushback shot for it. Air Canada A220. Again, it just depends, and I'm getting my settings mastered, so you can see some of the more recent shots like Lynx, and then some of the Dallas ones that we'll see soon really are starting to get in gear with the sharpness. So overall, very happy about that. CRJ-900 looks super good. Delta 757 looking fantastic. These came out really good. Again, shutter speed has since came up, so that's really helped the sharpness here. Vice versa for the 767. Here's the Aviation A320, and you can see it. The 18-150 still does a very good job, very sufficient with regards to the sharpness. This shot's perfectly acceptable in my opinion. The color is also a little bit worse on it too. You can kind of notice that, and let's actually move on to this example. So you can still see it gets that full color aspiration that the R7 is capable of. It just can't quite do what the 150-600 can, but still, this is still a very acceptable shot. And then kind of interesting to note with the landing gear, kind of how that still stays in really good focus. And then going back to the back of the aircraft, it still stays in really good focus. So overall, it's really good. I think it's just mastering the stabilization without image stabilization on it. It's definitely the biggest con, but again, I think it's worth the money I was able to save for how little I use the lens. So prime example here too. And again, you can kind of see the sharpness. This is a really good example of sometimes it is a little bit fuzzy, yes. But again, all of that can be related back to user error. And again, I'm still getting used to it. So that's why I waited a couple months so I get a good variety of photos. But again, the 150-600 is where it cooks, and that's what matters most. So prime example right here, this American 321. I was messing with settings here as well, and I actually think I was in P mode because of the in and out clouds, but I've since learned new settings that are going to help that, and the sun was in and out, so it was tough to get perfect settings. But again, this still came out really good considering that it was shaded right here, so very happy about that. Really great shot. I mean, you can't do much complaining. Again, the haze becomes more of a problem with how good this camera is, so it's really cool. So very happy with it. So yeah, I really hope that you all enjoyed this video. Thank you all so much. Let me know what you think of the Canon R7 in the comment section below, and let me know what you're doing with your camera setup. I would really love to hear. Personally, I'm super happy with the upgrade. I am very happy with the result of the camera, the quality, and all the various components. I'm still learning it as we go, but luckily it has became a really great camera to use, and I'm excited for more to come, and you all get to see that here on the channel going forward. So with all that being said, everybody, that'll do it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. My name is Redriveraviation. Take it easy, everybody. Stay safe. Trust the process. Do you love and love you do. My name is Redriveraviation. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon as Redriveraviation is signing off.